What's up, everybody? It is Slayer back here again with another video. I am a recovering alcoholic. I currently have a month and 11 days sober and clean, which is the longest that I've been sober and clean off of alcohol in at least 4 or 5 years. So that's huge for me. I'm fucking doing it this time. I'm conquering that motherfucker. Yeah, man, I've just been making update videos. I just wanted to speak briefly about my alcohol withdrawal journey and how that began. And you've got to drink a shit ton to get some of the symptoms that I got, that other alcoholics have gotten. You really have to be an alcoholic to get the worst of the worst. I remember when it first started with me, it started subtle. That it was just like, when I first started drinking, I wouldn't even get a hangover, man. I could drink fucking half a bottle and go to bed and wake up and feel great, feel fantastic. And first of all, I want to say this: why did I become an alcoholic? Well, I do think that it has something to do with genetics. I also think that it's your chemical makeup to a certain degree. But I also think that to a certain degree, the alcoholic loves alcohol. And I fucking loved alcohol. I loved it, man. What could I say? I've always been an introvert. I've always had anxiety, depression issues. I've had many issues as far as that goes. And the second that alcohol was introduced to me, it opened me up to a world that I didn't think was possible. I didn't think that I could be that way. I didn't think that was me. But guess what? That side of me has always been in me. It just took the alcohol to bring it out of me. So of course, I started, once alcohol was introduced, it wasn't like I just started drinking every day, all day long. No, it was a gradual process. I really wasn't even, I loved the feeling of it, but I didn't have my hands on it. I was underage. So it was something that was at bay. Even if I wanted to go get more, it was like, well, that was fun. I would love to go get some more, but I can't. So it's time to move on with my night now. Once I turned 21, that's when the doors opened up to disaster. That's when my addiction really started, I want to say. I mean, I had the freedom to go and purchase that bottle at any time that I wanted to, any time that I pleased. As long as I had money in my pocket, you could guarantee that I was probably going to be at the liquor store at some point during that day. And it started out, simple with 2-3 shots. 2-3 shots turned into 4 or 5 shots. 4 or 5 shots turned into 6 to 7 shots. 7, 8, 9, 10. I got up to the point that I was drinking nearly 11 to 12 shooters a day. That was, that was the highest amount that I got up to. And of course, there was days that I drank less, and there was days that I drank more. There was parties and shit that I drank so much that I shouldn't even be alive. Blacked out beyond belief. I remember the first time I ever got blacked out, I stole my mom's tequila. She had very expensive tequila. Well, it was Patron, but it was the Platinum Edition, I want to say is what it was. Expensive shit. And like the sack of shit that I was, the alcoholic little devil that I was, I went into the fucking cabinet and I just started taking shots. I remember I was playing on my PlayStation with my brother and my cousin, and I just was taking shots, and I blacked out. I woke up the next day like, what the fuck just happened, man? What the fuck just happened? But in a weird way, I liked it. I liked that feeling. It was an uncomfortable feeling, but for whatever reason, I kind of enjoyed it. And that was the beginning of many blackout drunks. So my point is when you're drinking that heavy for years, I drank that heavy for a couple of years straight. Every single day, didn't miss a beat. And I'm talking from sun up, sun down. If I could get it, I was gonna have it, and I'd be drinking till I was passed out, just to wake up, to go get it again, just to drink it, to pass out, just to get it up, go get it again, and repeat that cycle over and over again until I ended up in the hospital, or until, you know, I was in rehab, whatever it was, because that's the point that it gets to. Your hangover is no longer a hangover. I'd come off of it and it would be fucking horrendous. I'd start instantly, my stomach would get sick beyond belief, man. When I say sick beyond belief, I'm talking about the flu on steroids. I mean, it felt like someone was taking a fucking drill, putting it in my stomach and just spinning it and just mashing all my organs and shit together, because the alcohol, I think, was just that damaging to all my shit. My organs didn't know how to function properly anymore. It would begin with that, man. Then the shaking would begin. I'd start to shake. I wouldn't be able to keep my hands still. And on top of it, let me keep this in mind. Your mental, oh my goodness. It almost felt like someone, you know, like the old, like, school, like, you know, your brain on a frying pan. That's kind of how my brain would feel when I'd be coming off of my binges. My brain would just feel it just wasn't working correctly. It'd feel like a fucking egg on a frying pan. That's literally what it would feel like. And then that would progress into puking nonstop, just puke. Having the shits, you know, you gotta add that in there, you know. You might as well just forget about eating. Eating was non-existent. Even the sight of food. I remember sometimes I would try to eat something and just instantly throw up. I mean, it was like, it didn't matter what food it was. It didn't matter if it was ice cream or a fucking, you know, cheeseburger. It really didn't fucking matter. All of it sounded like shit. Your appetite was non-existent. Drinking water was nearly impossible. It was also just beyond sickly. And that's where it would begin with me. It would just begin with, like, feeling like you have a very intense flu, with, like, all the hangover effects too of the mental state and all that shit. And then it would get even worse. Usually for me, it'd be that first night. You know, it'd been probably about 15, 16, 17 hours. And that first night is when the effects would really start to kick in. I mean, I would just feel, my heart would be pounding. I'd be having fucking, you know, my heart would be skipping beats and shit, fucking having heart palpitations. It would feel like I couldn't breathe. Just agonizing. My body would be twitching all over. I'd have muscle spasms and twitches, like I was just like, my body was malfunctioning. And I would actually have convulsions sometimes where my legs would spaz out and shoot out. I'm lucky, thank God, that I never had a seizure and died, honestly. But I would start to get that. And then the insomnia would kick in. Ho, ho, ho. I think the longest I ever stayed up from alcohol insomnia was 4 nights straight. No sleep. I'm talking none at all. I'm not talking little micro naps, nothing. 4 nights straight, no sleep at all. So then that would kick in. The restlessness, not being able to sleep. I'd pace my room. The anxiety too would be off the roof. You'd be convinced that you're gonna die, 100%. I'd be pacing back and forth, like I was in a jail cell or some shit, man, in my room. Back and forth. Oh my goodness, man. And then the next day would come, and by the next day, you'd feel so run down and defeated. Like you just went through a war the night before, but yet you're still going through it. Nothing has changed. That's usually, for me, that next day would be horrendous, and leading into that night is usually when I would start to get the hallucinations. I never got super, like, I've heard serious horror stories of delirium tremens, not tremors. Tremors is when you shake, puke, and all that stuff. Delirious tremens is when you actually are having hallucinations and shit like that. That's when that would start to kick in for me. I'm young too, man, so it tells you about how much I fucking drank. I drank a shitload. That's when that would start to kick in, and it usually would start out for me with I'd hear shit. I'd start to hear music that wasn't really there. I'd hear it off in the distance, and I'd listen, and I'd be like, what the fuck? And just to get up to figure out nothing was playing. I'd hear like whispers. I remember one time I was actually waiting for my friend to bring me alcohol. He was, he didn't know how severe, he didn't really know what I was going through. And I convinced this guy, to get me alcohol, and I had been up for like 3 days straight going through it, and I was hallucinating bad, man. I was hearing shit. I remember I was sitting in my garage, and there was voices whispering to me, and I'd be blaring a video on my phone to try and like tune out the voices, and they would just get louder and louder. And I remember I walked to meet this guy, and I was like, man, I gotta get, because I knew at this point what was going on. I actually knew, I was afraid that I was gonna die. I had enough wits to me to know that it's like, I'm going through these withdrawals that could kill me. Because when you're at that point of withdrawal, you could literally die. And so I was going, just listening, fucking completely hallucinating, man. I'd see the shadow people running out of the corners of my eyes. I'd see spider webs in my room. Remember one time I was laying there, and I'd look over, and just all these spider webs were covering my lamp that really weren't there. I'd see bugs crawling. And I remember that whenever I would try and go to bed and I'd close my eyes, I'd have vivid demonic demon faces shooting at me, almost through me. That's kind of what it felt like. They were shooting through me. They'd shoot and then come down or some shit, man. Terrifying. It was horrifying. I couldn't keep my eyes closed. It was that scary. And that's about as bad as it got. The paranoia, man. I remember like my mom would walk into my room, and I would jump, like literally thinking that someone was coming to kill me. I was out of my mind, man. You were out of your mind. And then when I would get alcohol, I would have to drink a shot, puke that shot up just to take one. Any real alcoholic knows about that. You know about the taking the shot just to throw it up, just to take the next one. It was a fucking horror show. And I remember the first time that I went into my first detox, it was bad. I was detoxing bad. And I remember one night I woke up, and of course they were giving me Ativan. They're giving me medicine to help with it. And I remember I think it was the first or second night that I was there, I woke up, and I was looking around my room like, okay, whatever. And my door opened, and I was hallucinating. I was going through DTs, and I didn't realize it, because it feels as real as me looking at this phone, as me sitting in my car. That's as real as it is. And the door swung open, and everything behind this, a demon walked in. It was a nurse, but I saw a demon. I mean, horns, red, teeth, fangs coming down. It was like your classic demon from the Bible. And there was red behind her. It was red, and she had a giant syringe, and she's laughing. She was gonna kill me, dude. And then I started freaking the fuck out. I was like, holy shit. And it literally took me like a couple minutes to snap back into reality. I remember they came and they actually gave me a shot of Ativan because it was that bad. Horrifying shit, man. Alcohol opens up the doorways to hell. I really do believe that. There's a reason why it's called wine and spirits, is because it opens up a pathway and a doorway to spirits. I know that sounds woo-woo, crazy, out there to some people. A lot of people feel that way. I'm telling you, man, from an alcoholic who's been in the deeps of it, just rock bottom of a bottle. I could tell you right now, man, that alcohol is demonic. And I don't think that it's demonic in small doses if you just do it like a regular person. But when you go to the depths of alcohol, you see things and feel things and have thoughts of hell. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I'm making this video as a reminder to myself and to any other alcoholic that's out there struggling. It is not worth it. If you're going through it, go to Detox. Go get some help, man. If you don't go through withdrawals and you don't need a detox, go to AA, get some help, man. Ask your parents, ask your friends, ask your brother, ask whoever the fuck it is that is a positive sober support system that can help you, man. Or do it yourself. The only person that's going to do it is you. It all begins with you. Do what you got to do to get off of it, man, because I'm telling you right now, it's a road to death. The last time that I went to the hospital, I had acute pancreatitis. I have had pneumonia, you know, just all sorts of horrid shit. My liver numbers have been high, so high to the point that it's like they thought that my liver might fail. I mean, I've been in the hospital more times than I can count. I've been into detox twice, almost went into detox 3 times. I've been into rehab. I've been to countless AA meetings, man. I've been in multiple car crashes. I've been arrested, multiple fights. I've lost multiple friends, multiple family members that I'll never get back, never speak again. I've probably lost years of my life that I'll never, ever have again. That's my message, man. You don't need the fucking alcohol. You don't need it. And if you're at the beginning stages where you haven't lost anything, put it down before you do start to lose something, because you will. Pray on it. God, a higher power, is very important. I really do believe that. As far as getting sober, I do think that it's very important to have a higher power. Get close to your higher power, whatever that might be. For me, I'm a Christian. I follow the Bible. I'm not your typical judgmental asshole Christian. That's not even your typical Christian, because anybody who's really like that isn't a real Christian. Christianity does not teach that. Jesus did not walk around and be an asshole to people. Anyways, that's not the conversation. But find a higher power for you. Do what you got to do, man. Because it might seem like it's, because I know, man, how depressing life is, especially after putting it down, man. I've been depressed. I've wanted that instant gratification, but in the end, I know that it would only hurt me and my family, and it would not make anything better. It would just make whatever that depression that you were feeling, whatever those negative feelings that you were feeling, it's going to make them 10 times worse. Yeah, man, just do what you got to do, man. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. But you can do it, and it is possible, and we can do it together. You know, we can do it together. So yeah, man, I have work to do, so I'm gonna go in and do some work. I just wanted to give a little brief story about my alcohol. There's so much more to go into, which I will in a different video, but I'm gonna keep that. I think I'm gonna keep that it for this one. So yeah, man, until next time, guys, stay safe, stay sober, and peace.